Hello, beautiful unwell, and welcome to our last concert of the season. We are the Lorehounds, your guides to the pitfalls of the Great Conversion. I'm Alicia, Akasha's newest acolyte.
And I'm John, here to serve up another slice of the soul, in the Vampire Lestat, in the Lorehounds season wrap-up with a special guest.
Me! I'm Mark from Nevermind the Music, here to review Lestat's poor pitchfork reviews. Sorry, I don't have the Akasha line. I probably shouldn't do the rolled R.
Do you want to be the answer to our music questions?
I've got a good roll.
All right.
You two got a good roll?
Yeah, that was solid. That was really... I don't have a good roll. That's why I don't even try it.
Yeah. Happy. I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. Welcome to the Lorehounds, the Lorehounds. We have two feeds. So on the Lorehounds, after this, it might be quieter over there for a little bit. We will, of course, cover Future and Rights Immortal seasons there as well. And you can also find in that feed the Interview with the Vampire seasons 1 and 2 one-shot, the Talamasca one-shot. Patreon and Supercast subscribers also have access to a Mayfair Witches season 2 episode. But if you're a huge fan of that show, you might want to skip that one. And we will, of course, in this feed, in the Lorehounds feed, be covering other horror titles. In the meantime, do see our past coverage of shows like Widow's Bay, It, Welcome to Derry, 28 Years Later, which is a movie, not a show, Backrooms, things like that. The Lorehounds main feed has all of that stuff and everything else, including current weekly House of the Dragon coverage with David and Jean, and upcoming movie coverage like Supergirl. And John, not Jean, not to be confused with Jean. John, you're doing The Odyssey soon, I believe?
Allegedly. If I can make it to the movie, then yes.
Right.
Yeah. No, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. We're going to have fun.
But today, for now, for this conversation, we are assuming that you were all caught up on the Vampire Lestat and thus Interview with the Vampire. Before that, we've reserved the right to bring up Talamasca or Mayfair Witches or anything in the TV part of this universe we like, or any book-related stuff that's already aired. There won't be an Inside the Coffin book spoiler section this episode. Your book spoiler safe. We are picking up on this just after the Hall H panel for the Vampire Lestat took place at Comic-Con on Friday, July 24th. It took place 12:30 to 1:15 p.m. Pacific time. And I don't know if you guys have even heard this yet, because we are literally recording this right after that, although you'll be receiving it later. There was really only one announcement in the end. It's the one that we expected, so yay for that. Season 4 is a go. It will be called Queen of the Damned. There's a teaser out now that you can check out. The main change is that Roland Jones, who's been the showrunner for the past 3 seasons, he's stepping back to executive producer role, swapping places for this with Hannah Moscovich, who has been the executive producer all this time. And I already had a note in here that we needed to talk about her more. We don't talk about her enough because she is the other main creative partner with Roland Jones. And I think they really balance each other. I think that a lot of the wild swings come from him and a lot of the earnestness comes from her, is my impression. I definitely recommend an Autumn Brown interview that with her, just to wrap up the season and to get a good idea of, her input on the show and how much she really cares about this. So I'm excited about that. But I was wondering, why wasn't Roland Jones at the panel? And it better not be because stupid people on Twitter are making death threats.
Why are they making death threats?
Wow.
Like, what is there to be deathy about other than the vampirism?
I don't know. I only went on Twitter for the panel news. I I don't really want to wade into those waters. People are just taking... I don't even care what they're complaining about.
It's become Mordor, hasn't it? It really has.
Again, with the lack of rolled R. Come on, John.
Mordor.
There it is. Thank you. Yeah. We're talking about the Queen of the Damned.
Thoughts from either of you about...
I am the answer!
I mean, look, like, the question for me is of perspective, right? That is the massive tonal change that made season 3 really tick, right? And it's interesting. My wife has finally agreed to watch this show, so we're like a few episodes into season 1 at this point, and it's interesting the seeds of that tonal shift and the perspective shift that leads to that tonal shift. It's like maybe episode 4 in the first season when it's Claudia's diary. And that episode is so different. And I've forgotten how different it is. So these showrunners like taking a new perspective in the direction of also a tonal shift. And so my question is, that teaser almost suggests that this is her show and not Lestat's show. Is this going to be season 2 of the Vampire Lestat? Or are we following Akasha? Because that is a super different show.
Well,
and it'll be a lot. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah. No, so the Queen of the Damned book, and I assume there's been some oblique references to this, so I do think they intend to do something similar. The Queen of the Damned book is from a bunch of different perspectives. It's sort of more like the Game of Thrones book, where this is also where we get the origin story of the Devil's Minion romance, where we get the origin story of baby Jenks, who we met this season. So they've moved some of that up, but I think they'll probably do a bunch of different perspectives like the book.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will be more third person omniscient, it sounds like.
I don't know. I mean, right. I think they will do more different perspectives. So not third person omniscient as much as diving into a bunch of different people's perspectives.
Okay. All right.
There is a book change, like a transition when you go from not Louis's perspective, but the perspective, I guess, of Daniel in the first book interviewing Louis to Lestat being the central figure. But that doesn't happen quite as distinctly it jumps around to different, I don't think I'm supposed to name any of the names of the other people that it's going to jump to in the third book, but it's still Queen of the Damned is like a very direct sequel to Vampire Lestat in a way that
and story-wise it will be. There will be the concert and all that.
It's just if they take that, the title change, even if they take that as a swap, that'll be really interesting because, they settle into a groove and, turn it up. I guess overturn it is what I mean. It's just an interesting choice. And new showrunner, maybe it's the time to do it. I'm here for it, but it's also a bit sad because I like the glam rock musical that was this season.
Well, I know that there are already songs that are lined up for the season already. Apparently, Roland Jones's favorite was this season, although Daniel Hart, the composer, seems to not necessarily agree. But anyway, there will be more music for sure, and we know there's going to be the concerts. That's where that one song was supposed to play. So I don't know. I think it's the structure of the Queen of the Damned book gives them some more room to play, and because at this point, they don't necessarily know. I was hoping that we were going to get 2 seasons announced at once, and that didn't happen. So, it's just a reminder that they know they have to, make hay while the sun's shining. And this gives them the ability to touch on a bunch more stories at the same time. But I did have lots of thoughts in our wrap up and our Inside the Coffin section for anyone who wants to know what I think they might do with the books after that, like Tale of the Body Thief and beyond, where I think I just confused John more than explained anything. But
I have no idea what's going on. So it's fine. See, this is the thing. Like, there's a spoiler section and we give a big spoiler warning, but I don't know if anybody would understand, even if they, got to it. I feel like you have to read through it or watch it.
I was assured on Blue Sky that if I didn't sound like a crazy person explaining Anne Rice plots, then I must be doing it wrong. So
yeah, no, that's definitely right.
Yeah,
it's definitely right.
This might be the only sort of fiction series where I am both a book reader and someone who aborted and then let myself get completely spoiled, because I read through book 6, but just enough. And I guess we could talk about it when we talk about Armand specifically, but like, I kind of was out at that point. But then since then, I have followed recaps and I know all the crazy stuff. And I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but like I feel a little vindicated that I didn't keep reading. But it is wild to know as much as I do know and still be like, wait, what? When I'm hearing some of the later books. So if you think the Tale of Body Thief recap is a little confusing, I think it gets a lot crazier than that.
I did also try to explain the aliens, but anyway. And I am like unabashedly like, I think, why should the series not have gone weird? And I keep saying that I think this series has the opportunity to already draw on these later weirder elements, because it's all part of the same lore world. So it shouldn't just be, Anne Rice wrote the way she wrote because she was writing one book at a time, but they have the opportunity to tell the entire story together. So I am all for them going late book weird.
I'm glad you're all for it. I think it's tantamount, it's a testament to how weird and almost that spoilers almost maybe don't matter, because it's so weird that you will say that word and not worry that you're spoiling anything for anybody. You can say the word alien and everybody can listen to be like, oh, whatever. Like, I still don't understand what that means. It doesn't explain anything.
It's even weirder than you think. Yeah.
It should be a massive spoiler to say that, but it's almost not, because it's so out of your realm of even conception for what we know of the show.
But that's the thing. It gets so specific, and I respect that a lot,
So I think, okay, I'm going to talk about it now. I love this show. I think this season of the show is
Wait, can I just say
excellent.
real quick, before we transition into fresh takes, I just want to say that there is a concert video. We already knew this, coming to AMC in a few days, I think on like the 28th. So watch out for that if you want to see that Beacon concert that they did right before the launch. And also that we are recording this at least a couple days before it will be released. So if any additional news comes out in that time, like why Roland Jones wasn't at the panel, then I will talk about it in the outro. Sorry, go ahead, Mark. What are your thoughts?
Well, I was just sort of on the Anne Rice topic. I love the show. I don't want anybody to think that I'm like hating on it or hating on the world she built. But there is something about, and this was, I think, I don't remember which book it was that had just come out. When I was reading these books, which is probably like the aughts, maybe the late aughts or something like that, Anne Rice kept kind of changing her mind, it seemed. Like at one point she was disappointed in, almost it seemed like, renouncing the vampires a little bit because she had become very devoutly religious. And then she came to terms with it. And it almost felt to me, as I was deciding, I think I'm done after book 6. It almost felt to me that she was just on to her new interest. And so the extra layers, like, oh, there's this religious aspect. Okay, now there's aliens. Okay, next there's a brontosaurus in book 7 or whatever probably happens, right? It's because she got really into dinosaurs, having watched the latest Jurassic Park. So there's something about it that if these showrunners can hold it to...
That's not a real thing for anyone who's wondering.
It's not real. Because that would be crazy. That one would be too crazy, right?
I mean,
even though there's
why not?
flashbacks. It feels like if these showrunners could, the reason I'm mentioning this, if they can somehow make it cohesive, because I kind of don't think it is. Like, look, I stopped at book 6. I already was feeling like, I don't know how much this all fits together. If they can pull it off, and I almost think they can, it will be like a crowning achievement. Although, I'm not sure how many shows can go like 8, 9 seasons and keep the quality up. But if anybody can do it, maybe they can do it.
Well, since we have you here, we last heard from you mostly talking about one of the songs on our episode 3 recording. But now the season has finished. What were your thoughts overall?
It's a great show. Really enjoyed it. I kind of thought we'd get the concert at the end, but I think the stinger at the end with the wasteland he's looking over was really wonderful. I thought that last episode was really emotionally powerful. Had the last few episodes, I feel like, put the music and the musicality of the show to really good use. I think throughout the whole season, honestly. I feel like the vampire Armand lovers are out of their mind with the characterization they're giving in this show. I'm definitely on the John side of things.
We're getting personal. It's 2 against 1.
It's. I think you're over. You're outnumbered. I think though, not to gang up too much, I will say John, you are correct that Sam Reed is a very attractive man, but sometimes I feel like I need a shower after listening to your coverage. So there.
Mark, you once accused me of being a prude.
I know, and you're coming back hard on
a
that.
blood shower?
No one will ever dare accuse me again.
No, not now. I think it felt like, on the topic of Armand, and I'm sure we'll talk about him in some of our season highlights and stuff, but it felt almost a little bit like character assassination in this last episode. Now, there's the amazing kind of cathartic moment between him and Louis when Louis's head finally shows some much needed empathy, but also, God, Armand is just so wicked. And they really let him be that way in this episode. And I almost don't remember, I've read through the book, The Vampire Armand, and I don't remember him being that
well, it's because they're setting him up a certain way.
Sure.
I mean, they're certainly setting him up as a villain and only giving glimpses of the people who are Armand defenders, you'll notice, are by and large book readers.
Right.
But it is also, I was arguing the entire podcast that he didn't want to kill Louis. He has very bad coping mechanisms, but that doesn't mean
very bad.
Yeah, he can't get better.
And I know book readers maybe are more likely to like Armand. I think possibly, though, in the same way that it maybe seems that House of the Dragon, the creators of that show maybe put their thumb on the scale as to which side you're supposed to root for, even though it's sort of, everybody's bad. It feels a little bit like the showrunners might be putting their thumb on the scale more negatively towards Armand. And part of me wonders, honestly, part of the reason that I noped out after The Vampire Armand, and I won't spoil anything, I'm super stoked for the Memnock the Devil spinoff or whatever, because for me, I eat up the world. But I love book 3 because of the crazy, we're going to go way back and get everybody's backstory. And you've talked enough about that. I don't consider that a spoiler. And I liked Memnock the Devil because of the crazy, Dante's Inferno, let's walk and learn about cosmology, one long conversation for an entire book, basically. But Vampire Armand, as much as it does give you empathy, and we learned a lot about the kinds of things that maybe happened in his backstory that should give us a lot of empathy for Armand, it's also the way that it is put forward is just tough. It's tough read. And it's one of those things that reading the book, and I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouth, and I'm not an expert on this stuff, but there's sometimes I'm reading some of the stuff, frankly, some of the consent problem, sex stuff with Anne Rice, where I can't tell if I'm supposed to be grossed out or if she actually thinks I'm supposed to think it's hot and sexy. And that for me was just to read a book that had so much this 12-year-old boy has been bought and sold, and this vampire is grooming him and stuff. And I'm reading it going, I think Anne Rice thinks this is sexy. And it's just hurts to read kind of. And so it's not just the wild plot stuff. So I understand people who love Armand because you feel for him, but it also is part of what kicked me out of the series.
And he's a chaos gremlin.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's more I kind of like him in this episode more than I like him in that. Something about, I don't know. I don't want to feel I really enjoy a lot of this universe, and I don't want people to think I'm an Anne Rice hater.
No.
But there's something, it felt so uncomfortable to read some of that stuff, and so I just had to stop.
Sure. No, that's fair. And they're obviously being much more considered with that in the show. But as far as the tipping the scale on Armand, I'll say, Jean was just watching the first 2 seasons of this. And at the end of the first season, he's like, oh, I hate Lestat. He's, awful. And then I remember everyone hated Lestat at the end of season 1. And then, and obviously I think people feel a lot differently after this season. And that is what this story is, what this show is. Also,
never hated Lestat.
Yeah.
I know.
You'll never get me to hate Lestat.
But I think that's why I think already next season we'll probably start to get more things from Armand's perspective as well. And his redemption arc will start. I think we'll get a redemption arc for Gabriella, who I think was painted a lot worse in this season than she is in the book, even though I maybe because of the gross sex stuff, they should call it out. It's I don't care if you're vampires. That's still not okay. And yes, I know they do not have penetrative sex in the books, but still, you don't make out with your son. You don't tell him your sexy stories about wanting to fuck men when you're tending his wounds. yeah. So I think this having different perspectives in the next season will be good for that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's possible though that they will continue to put their thumb on the scale, and
No, they
Armand
won't.
may be a villain. You know,
No, they
but
won't. They will not.
You're
It's
pretty sure?
already. I'm
Okay.
100% certain. For first of all, because it's how the books go. Second of all, because it's something like Hannah Moscovitz, who's taking over as showrunner. I was recommending that Autumn Brown interview, which I'll link in the show notes. But she was just flat out saying there, like, I love all of these characters, and by the end of this show, you should love them all too. And she means including Armand and Gabriella.
Yeah.
And that would just be doing a huge service that is not on par with everything else we've seen if they just and the fact that we saw like that moment of breakthrough between Louis and Armand tells us that they see this character as a full person, a full vampire, so to speak.
You got to hand it to these vampires. Like, they take hundreds of years, but they eventually forgive each other and like learn to live with it. Like, there's a lot of like former enemies are now your friends in this series, you know, and it's some of them we've seen already and some of them you're foreshadowing here, you know. So
yeah, it's
okay.
about radical forgiveness also, this series. So very hope punk. Anyway, do you have any thoughts about or you feel like you've said your piece about Armand, John?
Armand is not a cartoonish villain, though he does some cartoonishly villainous things. One thing that the show does is it humanizes, these essentially monsters that, everybody in the show is a monster, right? All the characters we care about, except I guess Louis, because he's a vegetarian now. He only drinks animal blood, it seems like, or drinks.
I don't know. He did some messed up things this season.
He did do some messed up things this season, but at least it was like to other monsters, if you would.
That's how vegetarians work in real life, right? Like, it means you just can't eat people, but you can eat other animals. That's what a vegetarian is. Okay, yeah.
Honestly, right. I'm a vegetarian, and I would rather he eat bad people than animals. But yeah.
She says with the humongous cat in her arms right now.
Well, anyway, my point is, Lestat, Armand, they are all serial killers, right? Like, it's just So we're all speaking in moral relatives here,
right?
The reason that I hate Armand so much is that he hurts my good boys. He hurts the people that I care about in the show, and I think you're right, Alicia. Part of it is I haven't really had his perspective.
They also hurt him. Just saying.
Yeah, I think what makes him feel worse than the others is that all of his bad actions seem to stem from a place of cowardice, and so it makes him feel smaller than the other people. Whereas like Lestat is selfish, so is Louis. Lestat has an ego. Louis is self-absorbed. Like, these are qualities that can be toxic and clearly are toxic in the show, but we as a society tend to like judge cowardice a little more, and I think Armand shows a lot of cowardice, and that's why the way he doesn't tell the truth about Claudia is seen as such a devastating twist, and that's why the way that he sneaks up on Lestat and Louis, slices them up, and then puts Louis on a peg, makes him defenseless, to force him to apologize to him. It just feels more pathetic than anybody else in the show. And I think that that's why people are so unsympathetic to him. I don't know. I think that's my running theory.
What did he called himself, like a barnacle who he's like, did I love you? Or was I like a barnacle clinging to whatever? Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing is confronting what's wrong with yourself. And I think that, we'll talk more. We'll get into the villains of the season, but I think that they are presenting certain characters at their worst, like they did with Lestat in the first season, so that we later have to come around and confront our prejudices based on people doing awful things.
I'll never confront it. To be clear, my goal is to show no growth throughout this podcast.
Shall we check in with Corey, the head mod on the Interview Vampire subreddit, with his final thoughts on the season? And I'll warn, they're moderately critical. Here we go.
So, the Vampire Lestat season 1 is done. I continue to mull over the season as a whole since the season finale, which I've now watched like 3 times in a row. And the question I think that just keeps coming back to me is, did I or would I have preferred to have known ahead of time that this season finale wasn't really going to be a season finale? And by that I mean this was very clearly, in the old parlance, in the old TV days, this would be a mid-season finale. It would be the finale right before the season broke for the holidays, or something similar like that. You'd have some very, either very high stakes, or the characters would be down in the dumps and no one was sure how they were going to really recover, so that, when the rest of the season came along, a couple months later, you would have a reason to be invested in the back half of the season. And to me, that's what this feels like. This doesn't feel like a season finale. This feels like a mid-season finale. And the question I just keep asking myself is, would I have preferred to have known ahead of time that's what this is going to be? Because I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed in the finale. By that I mean there was no crescendo. There was no big payoff to everything that had happened so far in the season. And, it was a narrative through line of Lestat's character and his personal journey and growth. And we do see that, it appears that he's going to be ready for the concert, whether he actually does it or not, right? But it just didn't feel like a season finale. And does that bother me enough that it brings down my overall opinion of the season? I think it does. And I know sacrilege for saying that. A lot of people aren't going to be happy with me saying that, but I do think it does. I think it makes the whole season feel incomplete, because it makes this season, quote unquote, feel like half of a whole. And now I feel like I'm not going to be able to feel a sense of completeness. I'm not going to be able to feel like the story itself has come to a completed ending until I see that other half. And the disappointment I have as a result of that, I think could have been mitigated if I had known ahead of time. Like if they had announced, hey, this is only one half of the season, like one half of the story we're looking to tell. So I think my overall of the season is, I think that there were fantastic moments in the season. I think that, Lestat's journey, essentially getting to the core of himself, and then, being judged by his failures at the end of the season. I think it was all really, really good. I think it was incredibly well written. I think it was incredibly well acted, directed. The music was phenomenal. Stained Glass Eyes, I have listened to on repeat. It's definitely my personal favorite song of the season. But yeah, I think that when I come back to that question of did I enjoy the season overall, I have to factor in the fact that this doesn't really feel like a complete story, and it does bring down my overall opinion of the season.
Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but what do you guys think?
I have a lot of sympathy for this perspective, because I had a very similar feeling at the end of House of the Dragon season 2, which is why I'm not on that podcast for season 3, because I was so bummed after that. And I feel differently about this season because of the way it fits into my cliffhanger test. I know David loves his tests.
Mm-hmm.
But Corey, you're new to this community, I know. So I'm gonna fill you in on how I look at cliffhangers. And I believe I stole this from a podcast with Brandon Sanderson on it. But essentially, he divided cliffhangers into actual cliffhangers and game changers. For me, first of all, the cliffhanger in House of the Dragon, and that is, mild spoilers, but there was going to be a battle, a big battle at the end of season 2 of House of the Dragon, and everything seemed to be pointing to this in the last couple episodes, and then it just didn't happen. And I think what really bothered me about that is that it was very unclear what the outcome of that battle would be. It was very unclear about, what would happen. And the point is, the person was actually hanging off the cliff there, right? Because something was going to happen, and we didn't know if it was going to be a positive or negative outcome. Here, we've seen the destruction, right? Like, we know what's going to happen. We know there's going to be a concert, and we know that there's going to be an insane level of destruction afterwards. All we don't know is how it's going to happen and how it's going to affect the characters we care about. And that is an okay cliffhanger for me, because that's a game changer, right? The game will be changed in that the world will have some level of destruction, and these characters, whatever power dynamic exists between vampires and humans right now is not going to be the same after this. So that's why I think it's a cool game changer and not a cliffhanger in the traditional sense. The other thing too is just I am sucked into the show because of the characters. The plot is there, and that's great. And I think I am just a character focused watcher and reader when I consume media. And so I enjoyed this season more than I enjoyed the first 2 seasons, because this season was all a character dissection. The reason they named it the Vampire Lestat was because this was about Lestat's emotional journey. And that table where they dissect his soul and where he finally finds himself on the stage, that to me is that climax. And we did reach that, and we succeeded, and I was exhilarated at the end. And maybe it's just, again, different expectations. I was not sure if they were going to do the concert at the end, but by the time I got there, I didn't care if they were going to do it, because they had succeeded on that character point. So that's where I'm at, really. So I definitely respect your opinion, because I was very similar to you on House of the Dragon, and I see how this show can make you feel that way. A totally valid opinion. For me, this is the way I'm thinking about it, and it's making me enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah. No, I think for me, it was a matter of expectations. I didn't feel disappointed because, I've been saying all season that I kind of, because the book is really, you were just saying, Mark, that the Queen of the Damned is like very much a continuation of this story. So I was expecting some sort of cliffhanger, and actually by pulling back and not having the concert in it, in a way, it's almost less of a cliffhanger than. I don't want to. It's kind of obvious what goes down at the concert. They've certainly teased that enough, but I don't want to be spoiler anyway. But then, yeah, you're sort of left in this carnage and escape, and then you kind of need to pick up the next book immediately. So we got the teases of that without that. I suppose that final action scene. But yeah, so I expected for that, and also just the auction scene intro. As soon as they said the things that they said at the auction, it's like, oh, well, this is set after season 4. This feels like a season 5 thing, to be honest, for various other reasons we've discussed too. So that also set my expectations. I think that not only do we need season 4, we do need season 5 as well to really bring this story together. And yeah, and of course, the budgetary things, as I talked about before, I think that influenced the decision not to have the concert in the final episode. But I understand that the other thing that people are feeling disappointed about is that Lestat's past is the biggest focus of the Vampire Lestat book. And here we got all of the outlines for it, but not filled in nearly as much detail, which of course you expect with an adaptation in general. But I think it is also, it's because, well, I know it is because they made the decision to focus more on the present. And I think for the TV show, for us as viewers, I think that was, and from my perspective, the right decision to do. Because there are things like in the book, when you're focusing on one vampire's past, other players in the present just fade away to the background, like Louis. in this book, and that I don't think that would make sense for this TV show. And so they made also decisions to bring in, like to bring in Claudia Seance from the seventh book, even the Armand stuff, obviously with his Frankenstein era. So I think that that's the right thing personally to do for this TV show, to have things play out at the same time rather than one at a time. So that necessitates giving us the teases of Lestat's story without going all in. But I think that it also makes sense as a character study, because we are from the perspective of this character who does not like to talk about his past. He keeps saying it's against the vampire rules, which is just like a bullshit thing he made up. And so I think that we saw he made major strides with this season, but it would have been, it's not like he's suddenly going to be, oh, Daniel Malloy, let me tell you my entire life right now. That would not have been consistent with him as a character. And yeah, and I think we'll continue to get that. I think as long as we're allowed to have more seasons, we'll get more layers. Now, of course, I wish the seasons were longer, but it is what it is. And we know that money has most to do with that, I think. Yeah, but I'm looking forward. What do you think about this, Mark?
I mean, first of all, I think I'm just kind of used to it. Like whether it's House of the Dragon or other shows, just sort of like things feeling sometimes a little short, or feeling like, oh, they could have probably pushed that a little further. So it does. For example, in House of the Dragon, I don't think it bothered me nearly as much as it clearly bothered you, John. So like I think there's a lot that could have been said pacing wise for that season of TV, but like the fact they didn't get to a certain point. Like, I'm also, remember, like, I probably read this book 20 years ago. So, honestly, if you had asked me to put a lot of money on which book the concert happened in, I'm not sure I would have been so confidently to say Vampire Lestat and not just, isn't that the beginning of Queen of the Damned? Because I associate the Queen of the Damned book with a little more present stuff. And I associate present plus, like, epic lore dumps.
Ancient, yeah.
Yes, like real backstory. Whereas I really associate the book, The Vampire Lestat, with his backstory. And so the present stuff, I mean, it's interesting. The framing devices in Anne Rice novels kind of go in and out. Like, I haven't reread the second or the third one yet, but I did reread last year. I reread the Interview with the Vampire. And if anybody reads that book, did you just notice that the framing device disappears halfway through it? Like, there's all the first half of the book, there's plenty of like, and the boy stopped to question me, or like, or no, I'm trying to remember who the voice is, who's the narrator. But anyways, Daniel stopping, and just like he is in the show, and going, wait, what the hell did you just say?
Yeah, they just call him the boy until
the boy, yeah.
Queen of the Damned is when we learn his name. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. They obviously changed that. But like halfway through the book, she stops really using that device until the end when they have their interaction. That, of course, is the backstory to this show from the 70s. But the framing device was amped up majorly. The present timeline was amped up majorly in the first two seasons of this show. And so similarly, it seems like they are taking a lot of that backstory and saying, no, we are going to continue to focus on the framing device, which in this case is him recording this record to whoever the heck actually buys it. We have no idea, I think, at this point. So, I feel like Lestat's backstory is less important, which probably is a bummer to some book readers. Personally, I don't have a problem with it. I like this stuff more a little bit than some of the self-flagellation that happens in some of these guys' backstories. But I think also, like, to what you said, and this doesn't directly relate to Corey's message so much as something, Alicia, you just said about keeping everybody in. I feel like a lot of these books, and I think they might continue in this way, but obviously I stopped after 6. It's like protagonist goes on an adventure and periodically checks in with his homies. Like, oh, I'm going to go on this cosmic touring adventure where I'm going to learn all about the creation of the universe and all that. And then at the beginning and the end, I'm going to check in with some of your favorite vampire friends. And that's how a lot of these seem to go down. And that just wouldn't work as a show. Like, we can't have... The Vampire Armand season probably can't be just what it is in that book. Probably people are going to want a little more of the other cast, right? So, and
No, I think they'll be sprinkling it in throughout rather than
Right,
Yeah.
or maybe way more than sprinkling it. Like this has so much more Louis than the Vampire Lestat does.
right.
Yes.
Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned are like, oh, and it's Louis, and people are like, yeah, it's Louis. Whereas Louis is in every single episode of this show,
Right.
which is just so different from what it is in the books. And I think they're, at least for now, smart to do it that way.
Yeah,
I agree.
So
I agree. Well, thank you, Corey, for that food for thought, for a great conversation. Let's take a quick pause here. And when we come back, we're going to start measuring the music of the Vampire Lestat. Be right back. Okay, so I
I love that
gave-
you guys recorded a whole new set of ad music with a cappella vocals and everything just for this new season of TV. Sorry,
That's excellent. You'll send that to us right after recording.
to Inside Baseball. Yeah, sorry. Anyways,
So
sorry.
I sent you guys a list of questions, and then Mark, you added your own list of questions. So let's start with the first question. I asked you 4 things. We're each going to give a superlative to 4 songs, and then I will release on social media afterward what we all chose. So let's start with John. What song did you choose for best music? And the rule for this is the first time someone mentions a song, we also mention what else, any other awards that we have it for. So we're talking about it
Okay.
all, but for the same song at the same time. So what was your best music selection?
Okay, I'm picking Black Licorice.
Okay, here we go. Here's the clip.
Well, now it sounds like it sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry, I picked the wrong thing.
You don't like a good violin intro?
Didn't try to run. I caught a real life.
Sorry, that's my favorite part of it. But I had it as my honorary mention for best music. What about you, Mark?
I do not have any awards for this song. And I see John was saying a lot, but you muted yourself. Like, John, you were talking and we didn't hear any of what you were saying.
Oh, I was just saying we should leave that in. We should leave in our debating about it because I love that song. I just the intro of it doesn't sound as much like the rest of it.
Oh, that's
Funny.
my favorite part. Sorry.
That's funny. Well, I love the rock and roll. I love the rock and roll violin.
Mhm.
I'm a sucker for it in general. I thought it was really well used with this. I love the way that it's used. I know this is not the category of best used in the show, but I love the way that it's used as this like pivot point.
It's my honorary mention for best use, one of them. Yeah.
And then I like how it feels like a good, like feel good, like, oh, we're back on the hunt. And then later it's twisted as like, oh, maybe I was kind of mean by killing you because you're now in my dream and you're now holding my life on your iPhone.
What are your thoughts on the song? You said no awards from you.
This didn't win any awards for me. Can you remind me what is happening? This is the first episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the one where he has that transcendent stage experience and then pulls up Baby Jenks and, drinks from her hippie flip blood or whatever she
Oh,
was
yeah.
on.
Okay. I think for me, that scene, I was still very much trying to figure out what the heck is going on with the tone of this show in that first episode. So I don't know that the songs in that first episode hit me quite, I'll say it just like quite as well. Like, I think it's a cool song. It didn't stick out to me. So I'm a fan of the intro, though. I think 2 against 1.
I would accept that ruling, except that's anti-Armand.
John, you're muted again. It sounds like we're at a work meeting.
I I like that I'm the one that had so many issues with my own pick.
Yeah.
Everybody else is defending my pick.
Love it.
Well, I guess my selection of it, because I'll say the ones that Mark picked, he gave me very specific things, and for the rest, I just chose for myself. And maybe I didn't make the right choices for everyone's tastes, but that was my favorite part of that song.
Oh no, it's my fault. It's my fault for not giving you a specific part.
Oh, all right, Mark, what is your pick for best music?
I've got Your Biggest Fan.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm your biggest fan. I came to see you every night this week. Yeah, you remind me of a man or two or a few. I need you to need me. I got a bottle of wine, and that's me watching as you sleep at night. And that's me laughing in the darkness as you dream all of the desperate desires of your life. Don't let me catch you crying. Don't tell me the spell is breaking.
So that is my pick for best used in the episode.
Mine too.
Aha.
What a delight.
I'm not surprised. That one is, are we supposed to say whether it got a, like that would have been an honorary. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
sorry.
sure. Yeah,
I also,
say your
no,
honorary
it actually literally won that for me too. Yeah.
Okay, so all of us
I
have
had
best
to concede.
stories.
Now I have
Got it.
honorary mentions. I have a second and third song that I really love too. But
Okay.
this song, just like, why did I have you play that instead of the chorus? People talk a lot about a good chorus, but a good second verse. Good words to it. A good like rising sort of, there's a drum beat that enters in that second verse, guitars that come in. There's something about the second verse of the song that in a good song sometimes makes me go, this song means business. I'm ready. I want that second chorus to come in 30 seconds. And so there's something about when I hear this song at that point, like a minute and a half in or whatever, I'm like in. And it's just such a well-written song. I'm thinking really more, honestly, musically than the vibe, though obviously like that scene is so important too. Yeah, it's just a cool song. And yes, it also won best use in the episode for me.
The music video is perfect. The music video is perfect, and the way that that Lestat romanticizes his abuser and then later confronts the reality of it was so dark and haunting. And again, that's why the character work in the show, especially this season, is second to none in any other show, I think, right now.
Yeah. This is there's a famous story about Sam Reed, who plays Lestat, when he first read this episode 3 script and he got to this part with this music video from Magnus's perspective, he apparently like threw his laptop across the room. He's like, how dare you, this character abuse this other character, da da da. And then he cooled down, went for a walk, cooled down, went back and read the rest. And he's like, oh, now I get it. And
so he is Lestat. Like he's like, I heard your song dancing.
I mean, I understand. Like, and it works because it is so absurdly disrespectful, and it fits for Lestat so well that he was like, well, why wouldn't he be my fan? That's the way you talk about your abuser. And then, to just have that. It works because it's not just that. Like, I was laughing the first time I saw it and I didn't know what was going to come next, but now it hits harder every time, knowing that it's followed up by that double hitter with, Louis reading to Bruce and the visualizations of Lestat's experience. So yeah, that's why for me, question number 3, we've already answered it.
All three of us. Yeah.
Was song best used in the story. That's why
it had to be. It had to be that one. I mean, I've got honorary mention for that, but that episode, that use of music, it's really a musical in that moment too, right? Like it's not just music happening. It breaks reality, right, in a way that a few of these songs do. It's just so perfect, really, in a lot of ways. But I also happen to like the song too, so that's why it's my number one for. Although I actually felt a little unsure at the end. So I'm super curious, Alicia, what your best music winner is.
So my best music winner is When I Call Out Your Name. I just like, and obviously I am a child of the 90s, born in the 80s, child of the 90s. You can definitely hear that in my musical influences, and this definitely speaks to that. I think this is maybe kind of one of the closer songs to the kind of music that was in the Queen of the Damned movie from the early
Yeah.
90s, I guess it was. But okay, here it is. When I Call Out Your Name.
I'm thinking of you now, my dear.
So I clipped that section because, Mark, you put down a timestamp, and I can guess why, but that must mean you picked it for another award. What did you pick it for?
Yeah, so I picked this one for best lyrics. And
Okay.
there's a few rhymes. I'm not sure of cavalier rhyming with here. I'm like, come on, heart. But
I
overall,
think
it's
it's
very
fine.
emotional. Yeah, it's fine.
I would do it.
It's fine.
I would do it so proudly.
Okay. Overall, it's a very emotional piece of writing, and that moment. And this is me looking around on Reddit and stuff. I'm not the person who figured this out, but yeah, it's like he's stuttering her name, Gabriella. He can't get it out until the very end of the song. It's just very well written from a lyric perspective. It's a story. It's a song that works if you don't know. It kind of works outside of the plot. Also, it's just like gives you an emotional state and an emotional arc. And so, yeah, I have it as my best lyrics. And I think that moment with the gag, which does happen, he does it probably 4 times. And then a minute later, finally, we get the Gabriella sort of shouting at the end. It's just really powerful.
What do you think of it musically?
It's good. It's got that clip. It feels sort of post-grungy to me now that you're mentioning. I'm like, I can imagine Eddie Vedder singing that. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's epic. So I don't want to spoil our later conversation, but this one was in when I was thinking about creating a track list for an album. This one merited some very important careful thought. Okay. I think.
Okay.
Because it's great.
Any other, I'll say for best music, I had Black Licorice as an honorary mention, and I also had La Fontaine de Sang as honorary mention, which I'll say anyone who hasn't heard at the start of our episode 3, Mark, you give a fantastic breakdown of the historicity of that song.
Yeah. Go listen to that. Go watch the season backwards. Yeah, honorary mentions for best music. I've got Stained Glass Eyes and also The Loneliness. That song, there's something about how simple it is, but how powerful it is. My wife, 2 days ago, finished reading right after me and shut the light off, and it startled me awake, and I could not sleep because in that moment for an hour, I just had the bum, ba-da-bum, and you stay, and you stay, and you stay, and you, in my head, it's such a good song. Your biggest fan, I felt a little bad about choosing for 2 awards, so I almost gave it to Loneliness, but what do you got?
You still
John?
can. It's our podcast. We could.
It's happened, yeah. Let's re-record the last 20 minutes.
Did you have any other honorary mentions for this category, Jen?
For music,
yeah,
I did not because I don't give out participation awards.
Ooh, all right. Then I'll start off. I'll kick off best lyrics, and I'll say I chose The Loneliness for best lyrics. Here's the clip.
You can't love away the loneliness. Love will fade. And you stay, and you stay, and you stay, and you stay with resentment. You can't escape this loneliness. It'll pray, it'll press. How could anybody ever love you? Don't hide it away. Don't bury those feelings. don't burn alone.
Sorry, that's a slightly longer clip, but I love the lyrics. And I know, John, you said that they were on the nose, but for me, this is like Hope Punk, the musical.
Is this?
Don't burn alone.
I'm laughing because it got my superlative.
Okay,
I
so
gave it the
what's
cringe award.
Oh, no.
So basically, the
because of the
opposite of the
lyrics?
award you're giving it.
That's for lyrics?
Yeah.
So I
that
gotta
was
be
me
honest,
from the lyrics. Yeah, you don't
I've
like
never
the
listened
lyrics.
to lyrics. No, I've
Oh.
never listened to lyrics. Like I so like the music. This is like typical Mark, where like I listen to the song 10 times and then I start actually paying attention to the sad story. Like I have no idea what that song is about because I just like I think it's a jam. So like you all are noticing, like maybe I'll hate the lyrics, but the music is so cool. I honestly couldn't tell you what this is about aside from just a few vague notions. So cringe, huh? John?
It's the cringe one. It's just the minute he goes, "You can't fuck away the loneliness," I was like, oh, okay.
Which is
All
the
right.
first words. So you were out
Yeah.
from the jump.
Yeah. Oh,
you just tuned out.
I was just like, and like it was a wonderful episode, and there's even
Mhm.
wonderful moments in that song, like when he goes up to Louis in slow motion. I just couldn't handle
That was a
the
different
lyrics
song.
of the main song. Oh wait, it was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, whatever. Then I really hated the song.
We'll talk
'cause
about that
apparently
one.
I'm mixing it up with. No, it's the cringe award, and I'm sorry, and I didn't give any runners up because that would be mean.
Okay. I have it also as an honorary mention for best used in the episode, just because I really like the way that it at the end of that whole emotional episode 3, and you've just gone through the ringer with that whole juxtaposition of the sexual assault, to speak, that we just referred to, and then I don't know, it's like this sigh, it's like a sigh of relief, this song. I just the way that it's used there. And it also is a moment with Lestat where it's a win moment for him. And it doesn't mean he's going to keep winning for the rest of the season, because that's not how things ever work. But he sees Magnus out the door. Even his mother sees like he's okay, and she goes. And even Nikki is not like waving his bloody stump and screaming. He's smiling, and it's a moment of peace. So I think it was really well used in the episode as well.
I have this as honorary mentions for both of my superlative categories, and that's
Okay.
right. As a guest, I am taking over, and I have 2 categories. I'm going to sleep in the master bedroom, staying over at your house.
Okay, all right.
So I have 2 categories. We'll get to them later. I have best vocal performance and most human, and
Okay.
it is an honorable mention for both of those categories.
All right. Okay. And so you said when I call out your name was your lyrics. We talked about that. John, what was your lyrics pick?
My lyrics pick was Stained Glass Eyes.
Okay. All right. Let's play that.
Don't break that stand. I'm burning in your mirror tonight. No, don't you dare call it yearning. It's the fear that I write. Don't you try to forget all the things you regret. Like the ashes you spread till you had nothing left. You know the stained glass eyes don't look away.
So I had it as an honorary mention for lyrics, and also an honorary mention for best used in the episode.
I also have it as honorary mention for best used. Just, don't you try to forget the things you regret. I mean, that's just, that to me, I know, Alicia, you had said that the loneliness
Mhm.
was a thesis statement for
Mhm.
the season. I don't know. I feel like that line in Stained Glass Eyes is also another thesis statement for the season. Is Lestat trying to forget the things he regrets and then
Mhm.
realizing he can't, and he has to incorporate it and confront it.
So part of what I love about this song, and I have it as an honorable mention for best music and for best use in the episode, and it won one of my superlative categories, which I can get to in a second. But there's this moment when he comes to kind of terms emotionally with the Claudia situation in this song, right? And then it's upended kind of. They have this terrible closure with her the seance, right? But this song still exists. Like that emotion is documented in song in a way that like music can do that, art can do that he still feels that regret. He still feels, even though maybe one day later in universe, they're like, screw Claudia. She hates us. But like this was still real in the moment that happened. And I think that's something that's so powerful. And you can go back and listen to this song as a like a marker of that emotional moment, even though that emotional moment maybe was disruptive. Like think disrupted. Think of all the love songs that were written for then a person who you have an angry breakup with later. That emotion is still documented. And so there's something beautiful about that.
Yeah. You ever hear the song Belinda by Ben Folds?
Maybe?
I don't think so. I've heard a lot of Ben Folds, but
it was so he did a collaboration with Nick Hornby, who you might recall wrote High Fidelity among other novels. And this song is about a one-hit wonder who leaves his wife for a younger woman, and now he has to sing about his first wife forever because the hit was about her. And it's absolutely an incredible representation of what you're saying. It's like, it is a snapshot in time. Second verse is like, no one ever liked to hear the song he wrote for Cindy. And like, it's great. It's great.
Wow.
These snapshots in time can also be prisons for, I guess, the one-hit wonders.
Yeah. Yeah, I for me, like I said, it was backup for best use in the episode. Although I should have had it also as an honorary mention for best music too, to be honest. But it is, it's beautiful, and the lyrics are beautiful. Also, I should have it. Yeah, I did have it for lyrics. But for me, especially, just the fact people wanted so much to see Lestat confront that pain of being part of what happened to Claudia. And of course, we still need to go back and see the whole trial situation from his perspective, because we know from the books there's more to it. It's not going to make people like Armand better. But there's more of that story to tell. But what we did get so far, that one of the most memorable things of episode 7 of season 2 is just the way that she stared at him the whole time, that ultimate betrayal. And
how sure are you that we're going to get more of that?
Very, very sure.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I kind of feel like they might have kind of rounded out the Claudia story.
I agree.
No. I mean, people were also saying stuff like that. No, they definitely have not rounded out the Claudia story. Well, first of all, there's a gap in the salt circle. That's by definition not done.
But they pulled a thing. I mean, this is, to me, almost a sign that like, well, they're probably not going to adapt book 7 or whatever if they're pulling the most iconic moments from that book and putting them here, right?
No, yeah, but they're not going to adapt it as a solo book, but they will keep going with the story.
Sure.
They're just
right.
I mean, yeah, there's still a lot more to the Merrick book than that. But they're just telling the story in an order where they can keep characters in play. And Claudia's story is not done, and no, that's not done. But anyway, just this whole thing, like I said before, about Lestat being someone who doesn't want to confront these real things, stare them face on, and the fact that he did that. He went in and stared Regina in the face for Louis, because Louis is like, I feel like I'm going crazy here. And the fact that is finally the thing that had the effect on him. His entire demeanor changed after that. He went back to the studio. He recorded this song. He said, we're throwing out everything we did before. I finally found like the realness, basically. It forced him to be more real with himself. And this is also where we see his attitude toward his mother start to change too. Like this was a moment of confronting something in his life that forced him to grow a bit. I think this is one of those key moments. Yeah.
I've also got this song winning one of my superlatives, best vocal performance.
Okay.
And this was actually tricky because La Fontaine des Sangs is really, really beautifully sung. I think The Loneliness has some truly awesome vocal moments he does. I think a lot of them do, but there's something about the combination of sort of power and vulnerability with the way he sings some of this song that is why I chose that one. Also some cool backing vocals by what I think is Tough Cookie.
Yes, it is. Sarah Swire.
And that's pretty cool. It sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have any other, let's see, any other La Fontaine de Song I also have as an honorary mention for best lyrics, even though I know it's a Baudelaire poem, but Baudelaire did it, so.
I've got Big Bad Wolf. Yeah, Big Bad Wolf for me is the honorable mention. I love the freak out in the middle of it. I don't know if those are lyrics, but
we'll come
it's
back
awesome.
to that. We'll come back to that.
I'm sure.
What were you going to say, Jim?
My honorary mention, I realized, was for a different category. It was best use in the episode, which was Butterscotch Bitch. Because
all right, yeah, let's move on to best use. So that's okay, because we all said biggest fan was our pick.
Yep.
But,
yeah.
So yeah.
But my bet, that was my honorary mention, because I just love the way it kept pausing for him to like reconsider, and then like it's such a badass swagger that like then has a moment of doubt. And I think that was an amazing use of it in the story.
You're talking about in the last episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just kind of loops the same.
Yeah.
He doesn't sing it, does he? It's just the.
But I just like what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of best use, and that's actually my most honorable mentions. I already said Black Licorice. I already said Stained Glass Eyes. I already said The Loneliness. The other two I had for honorable mentions and best use in the episode is Why Do I Have to Feel, which is the one where he slow floats up to Louis.
Oh, right.
And Brutal Love, which is, again, him singing to Louis in the last. And I think that was just a moment of their reconnecting as a couple, and also of Gabriella realizing that Louis is his true love and she cannot own Lestat because he's given his heart to someone else. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that as far as why I have so many in that category is just, I think says something about this show, that it's not just about like, oh, Lestat's a rock star, let's make songs. Like, you can really tell that Daniel Hart was an integral part of the writer's room. And that this musical exploration that Lestat was doing of himself, using music to unlock his own feelings, was just so well done. And that's one of the reasons why I love this so much. But okay.
Give us your specials.
Superlative of choice, since we already brought it up, my award for best mid-song crash out goes to Big Bad Wolf.
You ever try to let someone back in after they come to you with a softness in their eyes and a grief in their heart, and then you find out about a certain book, a salacious bestseller full of misremembered cobwebs, if it is absolute connard? I did not write the fucking Wolverine blues. I never told you that. And that pleated skirt was a weak old rotten meat shade of chartreuse, not of white. And I have scars on my chest. No mention of that. I am not vampire Fabio. Stitch the initials on the backside of my picket pocket. This is an insane person. And I was Lilio, not Harlequin. And I would never say that to Claudia on the train. I would never, ever say that, you cancerous jackal!
I mean,
Awesome.
self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
So John, you gave the cringe award to The Loneliness. Mark, you said you gave best vocal to Stained Glass Eyes, but you had one more.
Yeah, most human. And it's Why Do I Have to Feel?
Okay.
And, you're going to play it?
Yes, we'll play it.
Yeah, it's very organic to me. It also features a lot of TC singing with him. It has kind of a 70s vibe, feels very soulful, feels very analog kind of. There's something about this that's a lot less sort of produced than some of the other songs, not counting like the demos or the ones that are supposed to be sort of live or whatever. there's something about this song that just obviously like some of the lyrics would do this too, but just feel like real in a
They were
way.
slamming on the tape delay.
Yeah, but there's something that feels so 20th century about that, right?
Yeah.
That feels like 60s, 70s, that just gives this kind of a rawness that I really appreciated, especially in the context of listening not just to the episodes, but going back and listening to them as songs. This one stood out for that reason.
Mark, you ever use that plugin where it has the reel of tape on it and you like run it through? It's like Kramer plug, I think, tape, and it like makes it kind of, it basically just adds a little white noise at the bottom, but they're like, no, it makes it sound like it's on tape.
Okay, no, but does it get out of time or something? Okay, yeah, saturator kind of. Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. It's like 80% white noise.
It's probably what they did. It's all highly digital, I'm sure, but they've done a good job of making it feel analog.
Right.
All right. So our final picks for the top choices, and I will share this on social media after this episode is out. For best music, John said Black Licorice. Mark said Your Biggest Fan. I said When I Call Out Your Name. For lyrics, John said Stained Glass Eyes. Mark said When I Call Out Your Name. I said The Loneliness. For story use, John said, we all said Your Biggest Fan. And for our special awards, John awarded The Loneliness the Cringe Award. Mark gave out 2 awards for Best Vocal to Stained Glass Eyes and Most Human to Why Do I Have to Feel. And I gave my award for Best Mid-Song Crash Out to Big Bad Wolf. And I also, I put up some polls in the Discord for the community, and I ended up because there was 19 songs that were originally released. So I had to divide it into 2 polls. So people got to vote on one half of the season and second half of the season. So the results there, and I'll say the poll is not complete at the time of recording. I will share the final results also on social media in the future. But as of the time of recording, for the first half of the season, the winning song is The Loneliness with 31%. Tied for second place is La Fontaine de Sang and Big Boss. And with 1 vote each is All Fall Down, Why Do I Have to Feel, and Your Biggest Fan. So thoughts on that in that's the first half of the season. That had a lot more spread out than the second half of the season, I'll say, the votes.
I have thoughts on some of those songs that I want to save for our next segment.
Okay. Okay.
I like that they like The Loneliness. I agree with that. I've established that.
You're all are out of your minds. I just, it's fine. It's fine. I just every time I hear very literal lyrics,
don't listen to the lyrics, John.
I can't handle it. And that might be a me problem.
Alone. Okay, second half of the season, the winner with 46% is Stained Glass Eyes. Second place with 31% is Brutal Love. And then we've got Big Bad Wolf, When I Call Your Name, and Dancing with Myself with 1 vote each as of the time of recording.
Do you guys like the Dancing with Myself cover?
Yeah, I like it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
I feel
fine.
like it could be better.
Okay.
There's something about it. I expect more. Like I heard, I guess I say in retrospect, I expected more because that's one of the first things they released. I heard that before we watched the show. And I feel like Lestat in that show could have even, and I know they treated it like it was a spur of the moment thing, but he could out Billy Idol, I think.
I mean, you want to talk about songs that you would wash your car to? I mean, that's one of them, you know? That cover, that's one of them.
Yeah, okay. And so let's actually take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do our speed round of Mark's. We're putting together our own albums under Mark's direction. We'll be right back. Okay, so I'll say that this prompt came before we just got, I think the day actually we're recording the release of, they released the Failures album. It's on streaming now. Presumably there'll be physical media announcements soon, but the Failures album has 23 tracks. So there's the 19 tracks that were already released. Plus, they added new versions of a couple of them. So we have now Lestat's version of Le Petit Coup. We have the bare bones version of Stained Glass Eyes. So that's the version that was in the episode rather than the more produced version that we had released before. We have a more produced version of Hit the Lights, which is just a demo version in the original releases. And then there's a remix of The Loneliness on that as well. But when you gave us this prompt, there were 19 album tracks released. I'll say I actually did choose one of the new ones in one of my picks. But do you want to walk us through, Mark, what are the questions and what are
So I was thinking before I knew they were going to release all of them, I was thinking while I was listening to these songs, like, what would you do if you were actually pretending this was a record they released, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized they were like 19, and I'm like, that's not this kind of music in 2020. What is this, 2025 when it's set? People aren't releasing a lot of 19-track albums. Let's pare this down. So we're doing Beatles rules. So 14 is the magic number for a lot of the Beatles albums. So we'll do that. And what I asked everybody to bring is, what's the opening track? What's the closing track? What's your favorite song that isn't going to make the album? Because we've got to cut 5 of them. Now we got to cut 9 of them, right? But it's going to be a B-side or it'll be on the deluxe version. And then what's the least favorite song that the record company or one of your bandmates who loves it, somebody's going to force it on the record even though you really don't like it? I think I maybe know what John's going to do, but so
Yeah,
it may not be your least favorite song though, because maybe you maybe it's just not going to be on the album, right?
Oh, actually, no. I just looked at my pick and I think I'm going to surprise you.
Okay, good. So those are the and we don't know what answers are, but we would then have to fight it out and choose what who the winners are, but we're not actually making a definitive.
No, we're each making our own album. Yeah.
Yes, that would be a different podcast if we had to come to agreement.
So what's your opening track?
Me? My opening track is Big Bad Wolf.
Okay.
I actually considered All Fall Down, and I'll talk about that later. For maybe obvious reasons, but Big Bad Wolf just has the right energy. It has the rant near the end that's just, I feel like it's excellent for tone setting. And I feel like some of the emotional weight of some of the other songs might be subverted if it were to immediately come after. So this is a song that's got to make the album, I think, but it can't hurt anybody as the first song, I guess, sort of is where I came from. What do you guys got for opener?
What's yours, John?
I changed mine at the last minute. I decided it is Butterscotch Bitch, because imagine you just put on an album, you don't know what's coming on. The record starts. Let's say you're on vinyl, and it's just started playing. You're like, what's going to start?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's getting me hyped now. Now I want to know what's on the rest of this.
That's fair. I mean, I guess for similar reasons, mine was Black Licorice because I like that. Although, yeah, Butterscotch Bitch would have been a good one too.
See, that was my original pick, was Black Licorice, and I chickened out. I think it's too hype. I think I have to ease in.
Yeah, you don't like the beginning of Black Licorice, though. Wasn't the one that you didn't like the way it opened? Oh,
That's
no, you
true.
just didn't like. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, closing track. I've got When I Call Out Your Name. And it's just very epic. And I toyed with the idea, not to spoil conversations that John's going to have on our podcast in a couple weeks when we talk about concept albums. But I toyed with the idea of whether this is just a regular album or if it's a concept album or even a rock opera where we've got to sculpt a story. So this is the final track, not necessarily in a concept album, but just musically, When I Call Out Your Name seems to really just work well as a rock album closer.
Okay. And John?
I like that, Mark. I have traditionally taken the approach. Well, no, that's not true. You've listened to both of my albums.
I have.
I've gone 50-50 on this. Whether you do like a hard close, or I do also like a hard close followed by a soft ballad to leave you off and leave you wanting a little more. So I picked Stained Glass Eyes for the latter. That's your ballad to ease you off the album. And maybe because the vinyl record is more likely to skip at the end, and therefore you need to end on a softer song, which is why they often used to. I'm pretty sure that's why they used to go with the softer songs at the end.
Less amplitude to mess the needle up. Wow, yeah, that's crazy. You don't think that it's too buried? You don't think this song would be a single? Like, that's the one thing at the end of the album.
It can be a single.
Yeah, it can be.
Why
but,
can't it end
you
on
know,
a strong note?
It's not about whether, and I'm just saying what's normal, right? What's the record company going to make us choose? That's the one consideration I'd worry about there.
My choice was the loneliness, just because I liked, it has that summary aspect of it. It just feels like a release. Like I said, I like how it's used at the end of this pivotal episode, arguably the best of them all, perhaps, up there with 5 at least.
All right.
And
sorry. Now I'm still on my argument with Mark.
Okay.
Keep going. Then I'm going to go back.
No, I thought that for the same reasons I had it as an honorary mention in the, best use in episode is the reason why I think it's a great one to round out the album and leave you on a satisfied note. Please continue your arguing.
Okay, back to my arguing.
Don't find examples of final songs that are hits. I get it. I get it.
Get Back is at the end of Let It Be.
But isn't Yesterday the final track on? Oh no, Help has like a weird. They like ruin the album by putting something after it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I get it. I'm just like a lot of albums. The singles are like the first 4 tracks, or 1,
right. 2,
3, 7, right? So that's the only thing is I wonder if you look up your band or my band, guess which tracks on Spotify have the most listens? It's going to be the first track, right?
100%. And I think that is definitely a result of the modern streaming era. I think back when you used to buy an album, you could be a little bit more creative on how you ordered the songs, because somebody's going to put on your album, they're at least going to listen to side A, and if they like you, they're going to listen to all of side B, right? They're just going to stop the music when it stops unless they have something else to do. So, yeah, I mean, I sometimes I'm like, I just wish I was making music in the times of vinyl records, because I so much prefer the album to the song.
Yeah. Born at the wrong time.
I'm sorry that we just trampled over your pick, Alicia. Because
I said what I needed to say about that.
I think the loneliness is a good pick too. I feel like the loneliness, especially if you let it be like grow, would be an excellent concert closer. Also, right? You could just let it become larger than life. All right, favorite song that won't make the cut, but still, gets to be on the B-side or whatever. For me, this one hurt, actually, because I almost made it my opener, and it's All Fall Down.
Okay.
I think All Fall Down is too short. I think All Fall Down, if it's the beginning of the record, it's great. But any other, as an interlude, I struggled with imagining it fitting anywhere else except for the opener. And since it's not my opener, I feel like it's got to be cut, and that hurts because I actually really like this. This is not a show that I skip the opening scene or the opening main title.
What about you, John?
So, as much as I said it was okay before, to me, a perfect B-side or on the deluxe version is going to be a cover. And so I picked Dancing with Myself.
That's a good point.
And I would hope that they would make it a little more creative. But I think that is the most common pick for them to be like, just put it on the deluxe.
Makes a lot of sense. Yep.
Thinking of Mumford & Sons, The Boxer, things like that.
See, a lot of my favorite B-sides were some like down-tempo, not like underproduced kind of songs. So in that vein, just a song that every time I hear it in the episode, I'm just like, oh, that's so lovely. And I'm glad that there is a full version now in the full album. But I chose Hit the Lights, Bare Bones. Which is the one that Lestat is strumming on his guitar in, I guess it's episode 1 even, when he's in Dracula's daughter Louis' hotel. And he's just kind of strumming in this guitar while he's like trying to cope with not hearing from Toi. And we know who Toi is now.
I feel like all of these actually would also make good 1990s style hidden tracks. Right? There's the acoustic version at the end. There's the cover. There's a weird short one that you're like, whoa, why'd they even record that? Right? Cool. All right, last category. Your least favorite song, but still going to make the record because you got outvoted by the band or the agent or the record label. And I've got Big Boss.
Okay.
And yeah, I just not feeling it. I know what they're going for. That doesn't mean I have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
But the band or the record, everybody else is going to want it on there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be on the record. It's not going to be a B-side. It's going to be on the record, but I'll just look at my phone while it's playing or something.
So this is the one I chose, one of the new ones for. I chose the remix of The Loneliness. It's not, and I'm not really, it's not really my style of music. And I'm like, no, give me the regular version. No to this version. So yeah, but I could see them being like, no, but we got to appeal to Gen Z or whatever.
I just put The Loneliness because, again, I thought I was going to be not as predictable, but then I realized I was on the wrong category. So, yes, I am predictable. The Loneliness, again, I think people are going to love it. And maybe this is why I failed in a career in music and did something else.
Failed up to podcasting.
Yeah, that's right.
There's one more song I wanted to give a shout out that we haven't really, for whatever reason, mentioned much, but it did get second place in the second half of the season Discord vote, and that is Brutal Love.
How I need it just to know that you're out there pulling all you can. Show me that bitter side. I want it. Give me that brutal love. I want it. Oh, I am the meteor.
So it didn't make any of my favorites, just with the arbitrary categories we chose, but it is still one of my favorite songs overall, which for me is interesting because it's more, I like a ballad, but it's kind of more like, I don't know, would you agree, Mark, that it has some R&B tinges to it, which is not usually my thing?
Yeah, I mean, God, what would I consider that? It's got like the orchestra in there. I mean, it's definitely got some R&B, but rhythmically, it doesn't have a groove like an R&B track. But there's something about it. I think that song's great. I didn't have it as one of mine, but it was like kind of knocking on the door of some of my lists.
Yeah, that's a good song.
You know, it's another thing that we didn't give any kudos to, and I'm not sure I'm here to give it kudos. I'm just noting that I think it may have been his highest charting song. Cabbage wasn't Cabbage in universe like the only one that cracked the top 100 or something, and it's not necessarily one of the better songs in my opinion, but
it was a contender for my song that the record company forced me to put on, but that's the one that's supposed to be the anthem with the make more
right. And they also talk about Long Face a lot, and that didn't come up, but like in universe they're always talking about how they don't want to, he says he doesn't want to play it or something. I'm trying to remember. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
he said it's a song you wash your car to.
Right.
That's right. Okay, now you mentioned that, I'm like,
that was my
thank you.
Joke. Yeah.
I do want to say I like the lyrics for Cabbage. That's another one that's like very we're all monsters group hug sort of vibes, which is, I was saying last episode is my thing. But I want to shout out overall just the variety of the music. Like, we have not played all clips from all 23 tracks here, but I just, from what you've heard here already, like, what an array of genres. Like, I know it's supposed to be glam rock inspired, and that's certainly in there, but what do you think? Can you think of any artists who are making music this varied?
I mean, one thing I will shout out that is glam rock adjacent. That's not an artist, but it is a show. There is, and it's not just because of the glam rock thing. There's something very Hedwig and the Angry Inch about some of this music.
For sure.
And that show, if anybody has seen the film or, the live show is so different because it's basically like a band. It's about a character in a band, and the movie is just a movie basically. But the live show is basically a band concert where the characters starts sort of riffing, talking. You get the backstory as a part of the concert, but the music has this sort of David Bowie stuff, sort of, but then it's got the hard rock, the punk, and then it's got these beautiful, really transcendent ballads in it that I know that's probably 20 something years old at this point, but the whole season I was thinking like, God, they have to have seen that, right?
Yeah.
How could they not, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't think this variety is that unusual for...
Yeah, today at least.
Like, yeah, like I think it would be interesting to, if this were a real artist, what would they do with the singles? If you released 3 singles, would they be 3 rockers, 3 ballads, or would they showcase that diversity? That I think is tough in 2026. I don't see like Stained Glass Eyes and Big Bad Wolf both as being singles from the same artist. You know, we talked about this like 2 seasons ago on my podcast. By the way, people, you should listen to my podcast. Never mind the music. We have a lot of fun. When we were talking about Cyndi Lauper, and we were talking about how Time After Time was her second single, I think, and that what a like whiplash that is from Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And like, what would the opposite have worked better? Like, how do you... Time After Time is like this beautiful like pop song, not quite a ballad, and then Girls Just Want to Have Fun is this weird synthy bop, not to use a Cyndi Lauper term, but like they're so different, it's hard to imagine anybody programming that as 2 singles. And I feel like that is kind of maybe what you're observing, Alicia, would be real when you were trying to think of like not what an album would sound like, but what the pop culture intersections with an artist like this would be confusing to some extent.
I feel like today, so I think Bowie's a good pull. I don't remember which one of you said Bowie, but Bowie's a good pull on like the variety.
Yeah. One of my favorites.
Yeah, Bowie's great. I only discovered him. I mean, like I knew of David Bowie, of course, but I only like really started listening to him a couple years ago. Chapel Roan, I think today does a pretty good variety. And I think Lestat is pretty close.
We know she was an influence.
Yeah, I know. Like I was listening to this, I was like, this is definitely Chapel Roan inspired. A lot of this.
Sure.
Like the chants and whatnot. Like that's, I feel like Make More is kind of like hot to go. I wonder if that was what they were referring to on the influence.
That's funny. Yeah. This is a little less Euro than some of her stuff for some reason. I think the other thing about it, that if we're thinking of artists that have a wide gamut, I think what's different here is like it's all in the same collection.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas like you could look at Taylor Swift and there's like 5 artists in there, but most of her records have kind of a vibe that is like Folklore doesn't randomly go into one of the Reputation songs in the middle of it, right? Folklore has its own reverby, acoustic, piano-y kind of thing, and then she'll have a dance pop record, whereas this is sort of doing the extremes within one show in a way that a musical might too, right? Anyways.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Chapel Roan's a good pull though too.
Do you have any overall thoughts about the music part of things that you haven't gotten out yet?
Is this the best show?
We've been talking about it for like an hour.
Yeah, I know. We've been hour and a half.
But music specifically, yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask, do you think this is the best use of in-world music as a device in TV? Period.
I mean, I can't really off the top of my head think of, just because sometimes there'll be a musical episode and that's fun. But this is all like, it's not, I know a lot of people would not qualify this as a musical because it's, I don't know, Mark, you're best with these sorts of definitions, but the fact that it's diegetic in a way that's kind of realistically embedded, you know, that it's not suddenly people are singing and dancing for no reason. They're only singing because they're on stage, but still the way they sneak in the music for these key moments and tie it, because it is explicitly about exploring your musical side to explore your psyche. I don't know, maybe either of you can phrase that better.
It's tricky. The sort of distinction, the thing is, it for sure breaks into the heightened reality of a musical at few points, right? This is not just a bunch of concert performances of a Lestat. There's the Stained Glass Eyes moment. There's obviously the Your Biggest Fan scene. That very much would be more like a musical film would do, right? Where it's not, that's not really happening, right? It's not actually Magnus singing, right?
Right.
And so I think it's inarguably a musical. Now, point you to Hedwig and the Angry Inch again. Like that also is, most of the songs you hear in that are somebody performing that song. Like there's a band rehearsing and singing a song, and that's the song. And yes, it relates to the story. So if that's a musical, then this would be a musical too. I think it feels a little different when it is being performed and stuff, and it's not all your biggest fan. Like where it's this isn't real kind of, suddenly we don't have the audience breaking into, or like extras in the scene breaking into a dance number in the middle of. It's not that kind of musical, but I don't think that means it's not a musical. Is Once a musical?
Yes, I would say
that's
so.
all real.
Yeah, but it is
music.
All, yeah, it's true.
And there's no heightened reality as I remember in that, but I think it's still a musical. Like, if people, I feel like if you say this isn't a musical, it's me saying Incubus isn't new metal because I don't really like new metal and I like Incubus, so they can't be new metal. If this isn't a musical, maybe you don't like musicals and you don't want it to be a musical, but I don't know what else to say then. There's 19 songs, almost all of them feature pretty prominently in the show, right? So, but I think this is probably the best. I'm not going to say the best use of diegetic music. There's a pretty good bridge over troubled water in The Leftovers, as I recall.
You got things like Schmigadoon. You've got but I don't know. There's
Glee was a musical, but like I don't ever watched it, but.
I've watched Glee, but it's not. Yeah, no, this is another level. Also, because the music is heightening all of the emotion, and of course, Glee was like that too. It was like, let me sing about my feelings, and it happens to be my homework for the week. I was really into Glee because I was.
The fact that these are original songs is a massive upgrade over like a jukebox musical.
Yeah,
right.
I'm a hater, as comes up on my podcast. I tend to not be down with. Let's just remix the hits of an artist to make a musical out of it. It's kind of lazy. Like, give me some original songs, and Hart gave us some original songs. Like them or not, like he's doing something with it, and that's pretty cool.
I do like them. I've been listening to this on repeat, all of unironically.
Mark, I bought you tickets to Just in Time though. So what are you going to do with them?
Get some StubHub money.
Did you see? Mark, you watched The Pit, right?
We are 2 episodes into season 2. I'm catching up.
But so Dr. Santos. And Dr. Santos was in Just in Time until recently. For a few months, she did a run as one of the leads in Just in Time. And so for a while, everybody on the internet was commenting on all like YouTube videos of her singing, going like, so this is why you can't finish your charting. Like, it was terrible.
And I'm not, it's like I've seen... Look, if the music's good, it's hard to like be like, oh, Bobby Darin sucks. Like if you like Bobby Darin music, like you're going to like the musical. But there's something that I respect about an original. Look, I'm in a band who like, I'm playing at a show and I know everybody would really rather me just stop and play covers of their favorite songs. Everybody's been there, right? I get it. But I like a good original series set of music, original soundtrack.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, and I just think that I'm going to say yes to your original question, John. I do think this is the best use of music in a television show that I've ever seen. I honestly have been racking my brain and can't think of anything that even comes close. So
we got to a yes.
We got to a
yes.
It's
great.
And that's a great beat to take a break on. And when we come back, we're going to put the music aside and talk about some full season superlatives overall. Be right back. Okay, so I asked you to pick your superlatives in 6 categories to wrap this up. Now, I'll say the first category is I asked character who has shown the most growth. My question is, if we're all going to say Lestat because it's his season, maybe we should actually have to say who is not Lestat. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I picked someone who isn't Lestat, so joke's on you.
Who?
Louis Dupoint du Lac. I
That was
think
my other. Yeah. Okay.
he genuinely showed more growth this season than in the first 2 seasons. Because he really doesn't even have the opportunity in seasons 1 and 2, right? He's just telling a story. At the end, he just walks away. But I wouldn't call that character growth. That's just making a choice. He follows up, and this season he goes through a manipulation and comes out the other side of it very introspective. Having that apology to Armand was, Armand was clearly in the wrong with this. I do think Louis needed, for his own sake, to confront his demons, and he finally did. And so I was giving that to him. Honorable mention, of course, was Lestat, because it was his story of growth. But I think Louis actually showed more growth than Lestat. Lestat confronted his demons, but I don't think he's made changes at this point. Louis did.
Okay. Well, since I've already showed my hand, I'll say I did choose Lestat, but then Louis was my runner-up. And I just think because Lestat, he had to do the really tough work of confronting the worst aspects, from Magnus to his mother to Claudia. As they said in the finale, you got a lot of stuff coming at you right now. You just got to focus in. And I think we saw from this, someone who's always trying to be aloof and mysterious to someone who just allows himself to break down. And by the end of the season, we even see the beginnings of him starting to rebuild himself, which you can only really do when you let go of that image of yourself that you've been clinging to. What about you, Mark? What do you think?
I feel like there's a fight. I'm Lestat also. I feel like there's a fight for dignity happening, kind of. There's with Gabriella in particular, establishing his identity after hundreds of years sort of is happening in this season. He learns to communicate more. I think John's actually right, though. I think it actually is Louis. But I have Lestat. My honorable mention is actually Alex also.
Okay.
To what end? I have no idea. That's the funny thing, is I have zero idea. And I know he's a book character, but I kind of can't remember much about. He's not some of the band is, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, right. No, that's true. The band. Yeah, I just think of Tough Cookie because she is but the band is barely in it.
They're barely in it, right?
Yeah.
They're way more in it, which I have to say is a good choice in the season.
Yeah.
It's having them as even in the background is pretty cool. I don't know. That guy has gone through a bit of a transformation, and not just literally to a vampire. Emotionally, we just don't know what that is yet. So, yeah, that's my honorable mention. It may not be worked out yet.
If I had a most mysterious, I would choose Alex.
Yeah, especially at the end there.
I guess you didn't write best character growth. You wrote most character growth.
Yeah.
So
I think these are good picks. What was your choice for biggest villain? Let me guess.
Me?
Uh-huh.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Gabriella.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's not necessarily who I expected. Yeah.
I'm shocking the audience. My honorary mention was Armand because I hate him.
Uh-huh.
But Gabriella truly was the villain of the season, in my opinion. I think that this season, as much as people are complaining about not seeing enough until Lestat's past, it clearly shows that she is the root of all his, all his ailments in life, all his social ailments.
She was still better than his father and his brothers.
Was she?
Wasn't
because
she?
I mean,
yeah,
they were abusive, but they were abusive for 30 years. She was abusive for 200.
Yeah, but that was Lestat's choice.
Was it?
She may have come by being terrible, honestly, by society pushing her, whereas the rest of the family maybe didn't. They were privileged jerks, right? I think you're changing my mind again, John. I have to see. I know you're not going to choose Armand. Mm-hmm. Okay, can you give me a devil's advocate case for why it could be Armand, John?
Oh, me. Okay,
because mine's Armand. But now I'm concerned that I actually should
Armand,
do Gabriella. She was my runner-up.
I think Armand, the reason he would be the biggest villain, first of all, the emotional manipulation of... I think Gabriella does a lot of self-serving emotional manipulation. Right. The emotional manipulation that he does with Regina to Louis is honestly just to be cruel. There's no benefit to Armand for doing this manipulation with Regina. It's just pure villainy. honestly.
Okay, so that's interesting because I was about to convince myself otherwise, because when you were talking earlier that his like everybody's a bad guy in the show, but Armand is coward also, and that there are a certain like hierarchy of how much, what level of bad we hate. Like we don't like coward as much as we don't like selfish, whatever. I was going to say earlier that Gabriella's particular brand of villainy is she's very cruel. But and there's something so unpalatable about how much joy she gets from other people getting insulted and stuff. But if you're right about Armand, that scene with and the situation with Adrena, all of that was just to fuck with somebody. Okay, yeah, I'm back to I'm Armand and Gabriella is the runner-up. I think it's hard to imagine it being anybody else really but Armand at this stage. But I sort of like watching him more. I like him more as a character. Satisfying to watch him be terrible. Gabriella is still in the book. Like there's stuff even there that I'm just like, I don't know. It's harder. She's harder for me to take as a viewer, but it's Armand. Come on, man. You cut your ex's head off and make him apologize to you. Such a baby.
He knew he would get better.
He almost failed to do that though, right? Like you have to. He was
speeding things up. Whenever it was like Fareed was like, oh, his vitals are failing, he'd be like, oh, hey, let's talk faster. Come on, say the thing so that we can be done with this and move on with our lives. He literally says,
dude. Okay, so
we can both.
John, you've got a young kid. Let me tell you, there's nothing worse.
Don't bring my kids into the vampire world. Jesus.
No. You may have experienced this. Your kid's way younger than my two are.
No.
But there is nothing worse, and I feel it when I'm looking in Armand's eyes in this deranged scene. Have you ever been in a situation, parents, where you're like, you make a threat that's like really extreme that you have no way you'll ever actually, like, come on, just say you're sorry, or like put the dishes away, or you can't watch screens for a week, and you know damn well you're not going to not let them watch screens for a week because you're just doing it to try to like shock them into compliance, and then they don't do it, and you're like, oh crap, I'm stuck with this. He's like, there's no way I can imagine Louis not apologizing, so I'm just going to threaten literal murder, and I'm going to kill like or threaten to kill this woman that he became hyperfixated on, because there's no way. And then guess what, dude? Sometimes the kid won't take the dishes and put them away, and now you're stuck having to go back and look like a jerk, or like you're as incompetent as Armand is in that scene. Sorry, like, yes, definitely Armand.
In Armand's defense, it ultimately worked. And actually, I think
it did. Oh, I hate that too.
He did push Louis through to a sort of breakthrough of his own, just because Louis is the type he's also hiding from things. Like whenever Lestat or Armand tell him anything in the past, he's like, la, 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 la. And now, to the argument about who's grown the most, one of the reasons why I thought that Louis was a candidate is because he has forced to be like, okay, no, I want to hear the bad things that happen to you too. And comfort you about it.
Could have just been the brain damage from, all that.
Yeah. I mean, also like hugging Lestat after his meltdown about his mother and stuff. But
yeah,
remind me next time I want some self-improvement to go have somebody torture me. I'm sure it'll be really effective.
Start with the decapitation, go from there. Yeah.
What do you got, Alicia? Who's your villain?
I'll say I do have Armand as the honorary mention, of course, but my villain of the season is Gabriella, just because, of course, there's the grooming and abuse, but there's also, it's just like hard to see at this point, and I know we will get a fuller view of her, and I do like her character a lot more in the book, but I'm not mad about the characterization now. I just don't like her as much as a person, because for like you were saying, that we see her enjoying, like, for example, in the past, when we saw the flashback with Nicky cutting off his own hands, and both Gabriella and Armand were in the room, and Armand was like not enjoying that, just like really feeling all the bad feelings, and Gabriella was just like smiling and laughing about it, and that's hard for me to deal with. And then the other thing is she's also this apostle for the great conversion, and obviously we need to learn more about her motivation behind that, but it just seems like she will do anything to manipulate Lestat and anyone else. And she's just constantly playing games, and I think she's done enough fucking around this season, and now it's time in season 4 for the finding out.
All right.
But then the next question is, what is the worst single move that anyone did? What do you think, Joe?
All right, so I tried to really distill it to a single action because there's a lot of plots here, and I already talked about Armand's plot with Regina. I'm gonna disqualify that as not a single action, and so therefore I am picking Armand killing Larry because Larry didn't deserve that, and that was just cruel and set so many things into motion that didn't need to be said. So I'm gonna pick that, and the second one I'm gonna turn against my boy. My honorary mention was Lestat turning Nikki. I think that was selfish and cruel and unnecessary and just hurt everybody involved.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, so this is close. I've got a 1 and a 2. It's Armand killing his follower Nelson in the finale.
Okay.
That's pretty
For
bad,
no
yeah.
reason at all. Like, justice for the humans, man. This guy's crime, like, I get
I mean, that's hardly the only
Larry.
human we saw killed this season.
similar. Well, Larry, right? Similar, right?
Well, yeah. But I mean, just like Daniel killing a random person on the street.
Right. There's something about how pointless it was.
Okay.
Like, Larry, I guess, is a part of some grand manipulation. This was literally just for the heck of it in the middle of the scene. So this guy's biggest crime is that he was devoted to Armand, and for that he dies. Like, that's pretty rich. So my honorary mention, though, is Gabriella touchy-touchy after the wolf scene. I'm like, that is so hard to watch. It's like she was terrible as a human and she's terrible as a vampire.
Yeah.
Like,
that speech comes right from the book.
yeah, jeez. Like, there's something about her, whatever she did to his head, that I know it's a bit different in the book, but like is taking him hundreds of years to get over. And it starts kind of in that moment on some level. That's when it crosses past, like, we're trying to cope with this tough situation with your family dynamics into something way worse, right? It's just, ugh. What do you got, Alicia?
Mine is the releasing the sex tape. I think in a way it's like saying with this, Armand forces people to confront things about themselves. It actually does force the other characters to grow, but does it in the worst possible way. And that for me was the worst of them. Just the idea of, I understand he wanted to humiliate Lestat because he's like, oh, you embarrassed me. Well, hold my blood bank and let me show you. But yeah, and Daniel too, especially, actually, I'm more mad at Daniel's role in that than anything, especially because he was at that Last Supper and, you know, was like, how do you end the story? And yeah, there was just this pettiness and carelessness. It was awful. It was awful.
I forgot to mention Daniel was a second honorary mention best villain for me. Like, I think there's something, he's been an asshole since the day we've met him, but he was also the audience surrogate in the first 2 seasons in the same way. Like, he's learning this story. He's a human being, for God's sakes. But here he's not the audience surrogate anymore. And so he's just antagonistic in a way that is hindering some of the characters we love at this point. And yeah, some of those moments run not on the level of Armand or Gabriella, even though he was decapitating and stuff, but he's creeping up on those folks.
Okay. Yeah, I think with Daniel also, I have questions. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing more from his perspective as well next season. I assume we'll get some of the backstory between him and Armand and what's really going on between them now, because I think there's a few things going on with him. He's coping with this vampire loneliness. He's still got his human drama going on from, you know, his daughter stuff to his Parkinson's and all the everything else. And then with this romance with Armand, I think people are complaining we haven't seen it on screen. And I was like, I don't think we want to see it on screen at this point because it's something ugly at this point. It is based on all of the wrong things and Armand probably having a bad influence on Daniel. So we're seeing the worst sides of Daniel, the assholery that we saw before just turned up to 11.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. John, what's your best line?
All right. So the best line is the one with the most rolled R's. That's
Yeah.
the best line, I think, indisputably in this
I
season.
am the answer.
However,
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do a couple funniest lines now. The funniest lines for me was "We are the children of the night reborn," followed by Lestat guffawing, and tying for that is "I've been up here for 3 days."
That's a good one. What about you, Mark?
So honorable mentions first. I am the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Second honorable mention is the Italian tenor roasting Lestat.
Oh, so good.
I wrote down some of it. You should be anticipating the beat, and now we're rushing, my, and swallowing our consonants. And then he says he's flat. Like, it's also great because I just watched that episode like a week ago where they kill that guy. And so it's just, I'm happy for that actor that he got to come back and do that also. My actual winner is the whole Worcester thing. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
And I live in New England, and so many of the towns around here have these ridiculous names. And like, Worcester, like there's just something about, I don't remember exactly what Lestat says about it, but
sure.
he just can't, and it's just so funny.
Ridiculous, he says.
Ridiculous. I love, my honorable mention is basically all of Lestat's mispronunciations, also Reddit and Discord and and just, or things like when he said allergies, what does he say? Allergies are invented, or what did he say? And then everything's ridiculous. Anything time he doesn't like something, ridiculous. Before my best line, I am going to be a little earnest here, and I'm going to pick from the finale episode. But if I failed, if I failed, then that means I actually attempted something.
That's a good pull. It's a really good pull. I wish I had thought of it. You're smarter than me.
That's the one that sticks in my head. It's my little pep talk.
I'm quitting now. I'm taking off my headphones because
My personal pep
that's
talk.
the line. No, you were right.
Well, I think you guys are probably right. What, John, is your special award?
Best original lore.
Okay.
Vampire P. Best original lore. I you know why though? Because it wasn't just a one-off joke.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up giving us a great moment with it's polite not to it's polite to respect pronouns, like silence at the urinal. Great moments with that. And then later, of course, we have there's so many conflicts surrounding the Vampire P. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just love the way that they used it. Like, it was not a one-off. It was something that was played to be silly, but even flippant things in the show end up being meaningful, and that's a great representation of why the show is great.
Yeah. What about you?
Most confusing character for book readers.
Okay.
Raglan James, no comment. Just what the hell? How about that comment? I have no idea what's going on with what are they going to do? Where's that going? I don't know. I know it's inside the coffin to talk about it, but like, okay, let's see what happens. Whatever you got, go for it.
So you think it, like the fact that he's brought in earlier, and the fact that Lestat called him a close friend.
The fact that he's brought in earlier and playing the role he's playing now is very, I can see how it could fit in, but it's weird to me that it does fit in that way. And so, okay, I'm not a huge fan of that fourth book, so I'm not afraid of changes. If they want to change things, maybe it'll make that book more compelling. So that story more compelling, to me at least. So I'm here for it, but it's confusing. Raglan James is confusing. And it's actually, because he's in Mayfair, or he was in
Talamasca.
Talamasca, right.
Let me tell you all a story about a guy named Guy.
I liked
Or
Talamasca,
not.
but anyway, yeah.
It was fine.
But except for Guy, like that show, you need to have I think this show, both seasons, has a main character that you're invested in, all 3 seasons, right?
I mean, I think that there's at least 5 main characters, if we include Claudia.
Sure. And the main centerpiece of that show is not very compelling, but Raglan James is in that show, and it's not until this season that I've like, oh, it's that guy.
Mm.
Like, I didn't put it together, and part of that is because obviously the characterization is like we're not seeing the same thing. We're seeing the same name really at this point. So don't want to talk about it more because the people who aren't book readers are like, what is he talking about?
I talked a lot about, I started my Tale of the Body Thief Murderborn at the end of the last season finale episode in our Inside the Coffin segment, because that is sort of what's got my brain the most activated. I like that they've brought him in earlier, because I'll just say he shows up in book 4 and we find things about him that used to be true, but then we, are meeting him as a new character. And now we see this phase of his life. And I think the things that happen in that 4th book, which would be the 5th season, will hit harder because I can see them setting up more meaning behind actions and more consequences, emotional and otherwise, to these actions.
I also think that 4th book is when the Anne Rice, let's just start adding a thing that I never thought of. Now this happens in the universe. In the next book, this happens. And now there's aliens or whatever. Like, that's when that starts. So let's bring that stuff in more early so it starts to feel, so it's more organic and has a chance at feeling like earned, maybe.
Right.
So anyway.
Now that we've pushed out D-list Eddie Redmayne, I think that character will be able to shine.
Wait, D-list Eddie Redmayne? Who's that?
That's Guy.
Oh,
whoever plays Guy. He's D-list Eddie Redmayne. Come on.
I liked the characters in that show. I didn't like the plotting, but I liked the characters, and I want to see the characters continue.
And they could be in this. Like,
yeah, they can be.
Guy could show up and bore us in this show.
It's fine.
Well, tell us about Guy's mom. Well, I'm most interested in, I'll just say, the sisters in that show. And Jasper. We need Jasper the vampire in this show for sure.
He was cool.
Yeah.
And like you said, the sisters were cool. You need a compelling main character.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
Sorry, I have to say, just like when that show came out and I was watching it, we had just got a puppy and we named him Jasper. And so it was just really hard for me to like watch this vampire character and like do what he does. And I'm like, no, you're not Jasper. Jasper is this little dog. Anyways, what's your superlative?
My superlative is triple character threat, and that would be Muse Claudia, that Lestat sees when he writes Stained Glass Eyes, and Regina. So really, it's a superlative for Delaney Hales, but these are all shades of Claudia.
I like it. That's a cool award.
All right.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to next season, Mark?
I am most looking forward to backstory. Book 3 has a massive lore dump. It really works in the novel, but like this show shows that they're really
Akasha's
good at
backstory. Then
it's not just Akasha's backstory.
No, I know,
it's
but like other characters.
Yeah. I mean, like backstory. Yeah, it's not just Akasha, but like there's ancient history. There's middle.
So vampire origins, we can say.
It's that, but also there's stuff with druids and stuff, as I recall correctly.
Wait, but that's not. Isn't that in? That's in Marius's book, right?
I've never read Marius.
Marius has a book? Jesus Christ. This woman we kept writing.
There's like a guy, blood and gold. There's like a guy in a tree.
Yeah.
Isn't there a dude in a tree?
So I suppose what it is, it's because, Anne Rice does this thing a lot where she introduces a concept and then goes back and writes a whole book about it. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yes. So that kind of backstory, not just 20 years ago backstory, I just feel like the showrunners have demonstrated and the writers have demonstrated they're really very equipped to integrate backstory within contemporary stuff that'll work well. And there's a lot of exciting, cool stuff that happens in that 3rd book in the contemporary timeline, which isn't as true, in my opinion, maybe with Vampire Lestat novel. And so I'm really here for whatever they're going to do to give us that. Hopefully they don't ignore too much of it, but even if it's less center stage than in the same way that Lestat's story is less central, the backstory takes a second rank to the contemporary plot. I'm okay with that, but I'm really looking forward to that. And my honorary mention is probably not even going to be learned, but who's listening to the record? Who bought the record? That's interesting. I don't think it matters. It may be a whatever kind of answer, but I'm super curious.
Okay. I'll say mine was more focused. I want to know what happened to. I've been thinking a lot about that fact that we saw Daniel hiss at Raglan and then it cut, and then we didn't see Daniel again. So that is my question. My honorable mention in that what happened regard, like I said, would be what is going on with Alex right now. Lots of questions about that. But I want to know what happened to Daniel, because I feel like that might unlock a lot of other stories going forward. What about you, John?
I want Akasha past, present, and future. I want to watch her trample over this world that has so cruelly treated her. And I want to see how Montreal ends up looking like that.
Yeah.
I was so sold by that performance for that brief time that she was active that I just want more of that. I think that's going to be really fun to watch.
Apparently, Sheila Atim, who plays Akasha, had trouble getting her visa to come to Canada to work, which I know I think she was born in Uganda, but I thought she had a British background. Anyway, I don't know. I was surprised to hear that. But so she really showed up for like the last 2 days, and apparently a bunch of people stayed around and just to like watch her do her thing. And that was how they wrapped up the entire shoot, was with that Akasha sequence, which I think is an exciting way to go forward. And yeah, I agree. I can't wait to see everything about her backstory, everything about the retribution she's about to ring on the Y chromosome or whatever, however they put it. Yeah. All right. Overall thoughts about this season or the show in general, the future of the show, the past of the show.
I think we've said what we need to say.
Yeah,
I want.
You all have been talking about it all season.
I know. There's only like 18 hours of us talking about this already.
It's not enough.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Thanks for having me on, though. It was great to get this out of my system because I've had thoughts for sure, but it's been fun to talk about it, especially to have like a music thing to really sink our teeth into.
Yeah. No, thank you for coming on. We've been wanting to talk to you about it all season. Love that you enjoy this. Also, we need to get your co-host Nicole in on this. She said that we got her tempted because we said it's like, well, you said, oh, you're a fan of heated rivalry. And then I shared that quote someone said online that like recommending the Vampire Lestat to heated rivalry fans is like offering crack cocaine to people who like strawberry soda.
Yeah, sounds right.
But yeah, we need her analyses of these vampire psyches.
Funny.
Mark, do you want to tell us what is up on Nevermind the Music?
Okay, so the last week on Nevermind the Music, we actually had our 100th episode, and David was on. And so we were talking about a lot of stuff, our friendship, podcasting, music. It was a pretty cool episode. Coming up in a couple days, we have Are You Gonna Go My Way by Lenny Kravitz. And there's a lot of talk about cults in that episode, actually. It was a fun one. So we are coming up on the end of our second season, which is pretty exciting. Like, I guess the beginning of September is when that season wraps, and we're already working on season 3. So check us out if you haven't already, folks. Find a song you like.
And John, what's going on in the Lorehounds feed?
So much stuff. Weekly House of the Dragon, which, as we've discussed, I'm not on, but David and John are doing their weekly coverage, and they're having a great time. And you were on the first couple weeks.
Yes, I led while David was away, but David has taken over and has now implemented a military corner with also with the help of our historian friend of the pod, Nate. So check in there for historical insights, and Jean is dropping truths about shitty characters and awesome dragons.
he's telling everyone to kick rocks. I saw him in the vampire chat today telling Armand to kick rocks, and so
yeah,
I have an ally. Mark and I have an ally.
Yes, you have many allies.
Yeah. Yeah, if Armand has no haters, I'm dead. Yeah, and you're doing Supergirl with Sean?
Yeah. So it's coming out on digital on the 28th of July. So we are planning to release our coverage around that time so that you can watch at home if you haven't watched yet and listen to our takes on it, which I promise will be leaning positive because we're fans.
Great. And I'm going to be leading the Odyssey charge. I think I'm going to try to see it this weekend. It's going to be good. I hear good things. I love Greek mythology. I read the Odyssey last year for the first time. It's great stuff. And then X-Men 97. I saw that it's back. I haven't had a chance to catch up, but I'll be going with you the whole time.
Yeah, so we're going to do one shot at the end of season 2 just because it's been so busy. But John, it's good. Yeah, Jean and I are going to do it. But John, if you catch up and you're interested, please do jump in with us because I know you really enjoyed season 1 as well.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened, but I remember really enjoying it because I think Jean was busy, so he couldn't come on. So it was just you and me on season 1, actually.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and then it's getting into. I've already seen some of the spoilers and stuff, and it's getting into the stories that we hoped it would be getting into for this season. So good stuff. Good
Okay.
stuff.
Nice.
And I'll say Supercast and Patreon subscribers, you have ad-free access to all of these episodes. Plus, you get extras like a character guide for House of the Dragon or our extra episodes for July, which are going to be end of the month just because we've been so busy with this. It's wine month. It's my month. So I'm giving wine tips on Second Breakfast. And for our 11sies movie club, we are talking about the film Sideways. So if you are interested in that, Supercast and Patreon have the same content, 2 different ways to subscribe, and you'll find those links in the show notes and the different plans offered. And the other thing that's been keeping me so busy is it's Silo season. So we are, we are 4 episodes into season 4 have released, and I honestly, I mean, no, different people feel differently. I've been loving the start of the season. It's based on probably the most exciting book in the trilogy, and episode 4 ends with a doozy. So look out for that on the separate Wool Shift Dust feed. That is where you will find Luke and I covering Silo. What else have we going on with affiliates, John?
Kind of nothing except Dungeons and Do-Rags. I just realized I was not including them because we have to update this outro document. Dungeons and Do-Rags is doing weekly House of the Dragon. So if you are interested in hearing more House of the Dragon takes, it's really fun. I'm not watching, but it's still a fun thing to listen to because they're having a great time covering it. So check that out. It's on audio now, and it has always been on YouTube. And it sounded great. So welcome to the network, Dungeons and Do-Rags. And then Cosmere Corner is launching July 31st. That's going to be a new feed in your ears and on YouTube as well. It's going to be a video podcast. So if you're interested in joining us on the journey through Brandon Sanderson's books, we're starting, it's spoiler free from the beginning. So you can hop right in.
All right. Future editor Alicia popping in just to say it's been a couple of weeks since we've recorded this episode. It's been a very busy time. See the Lorehounds feed, the Wool Shift Dust feed full of Silo stuff for more information, not to mention my day job. So thanks for your patience. But as far as news, there really hasn't been much new news since Comic-Con. We did learn that Hannah Moscovich has been planned to be the showrunner for many months now. A lot of people apparently did know about this. This wasn't a surprise. Still not sure why Roland Jones wasn't at Comic-Con as planned to be there for that announcement. But I still think she's the perfect pick for this next season. Roland Jones will be busy show running Grapes of Wrath, another show being produced by Mark Johnson, the overarching producer for the Anne Rice Immortal universe on AMC. And Roland Jones will still be an executive producer on Queen of the Damned, season 4 of Interview with the Vampire. And, he and Hannah basically broke the story together going forward. So he still has a heavy hand in the shape of it, but it will be Hannah at the helm of the writer's room, fine-tuning that and sculpting it into this new season, and I can't wait to see what it is. Other fun news is the live concert pro shot from the Beacon Theater, that concert in New York right before the season started, that will be released on AMC August 23rd for those of us who weren't able to be in New York to see it. And that's about all the news we have now. We'll be back in your ears as soon as there's more to say. And that brings us to time for some thank yous. First of all, thank you to all of you who are listening right now. If you enjoyed this, the best thing you can do to help us out is to share this with anyone else who you think would enjoy it as well. Leaving a nice rating and review, subscribing, wherever you're listening. These things all help more people find us, which helps us keep making more of these episodes. Now we have to give out some special thank yous to our community volunteers, the Dunedain, Hand of the Pod, Nancy, aka Two Kids, Two Dogs, Captain of the Pole Hero, Peter O.H., Keeper of the Show Tracker, Sub-Zero, Librarian, Brian8063, Moderators Brian8063, and Aaron K. Thank you to our Discord server boosters, Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajalea, The Stew, Nancy M, Ghost of Perdition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian. Thank you to all of our subscribers, especially the top tier, the Lore Masters, Samarsh and Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter O.H, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Andrew B, Kwong Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dali V, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elisa U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Collie S, Ilmariel, Rocky Zim, Jessica A, Red Zippy, the TCS, Ellen R, Mrs. Tennant, AC Wilson, Eli W, Cassie K, Chumbaroony, Katia, Josh Liu, Paintin PDX, Corey G, Quinch, Jenny L, Slavinator, and always last, Adrian. Thank you all so very much. Final thoughts before we go?
I have been recording this podcast for 3 days, and I don't know how to get down.
And cut. Good one.
All right.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.